Continuing our look now at the best in children's television. This morning, the new kid, or dinosaur on the block.
So the big purple reptile that kids can't resist.
The big purple dinosaur.
Teaches about love, and it just kind of like soothes the kids.
And always, there's that signature song.
You have found us again. It's Purple Tales Podcast. I'm Nancy J. along with Carey Stinson.
Yes, hello. How are you?
Hello, Barney.
Yes.
How are you doing these days?
I am awesome.
You know, someone was asking me whether this little song that we have at the very beginning, was that a part of a Barney song at all, or was that just our brilliant engineer Matt who found it, I guess?
Our brilliant staff here at Real News.
Okay, but we do have that "I love you," which we see in the very beginning, which is so much fun.
That's what puts that smile on my face each week.
And you know, it just seems like I just want to remind everyone why we do this.
Yes.
Okay? And Purple Tales Podcast actually celebrates the spirit of Barney and all of the men and women, young and old,
yes,
who took part in creating this unbelievable imagination show. I mean, that has become a lifestyle, actually, of goodness and kindness.
Absolutely. It's been incredible how it's developing even more as these stories are coming out and everyone's getting their chance to tell these stories, and for me getting to hear these stories. And this week I've talked to a lot of Barney people, and it's just incredible, like seeing people again. And you know, you haven't talked to some people in a long time and you're like, oh my God, it's just like yesterday.
But for those of us who are just fans of Barney, our PT peers,
our PT
peers, remember that this is a reminder to you all that the simplest of lessons can have a meaningful impact on your life for the rest of your life. And that's what really Barney did.
Absolutely.
And could we do something a little different this week, Carey?
We can.
Put you kind of in the hot seat.
We can do that.
Because I know the PT peers have been asking a lot of questions.
Absolutely.
And I want to think that you have all the answers.
Yeah.
Or at least for today.
Okay. Absolutely. I have a lot of them.
So do you want to start there?
I do. And I have something that kind of inspired this whole thing here. Because I feel like it's kind of, you know, you've been in the media for a long time, in the press and all that.
Okay. I have no idea what he's doing.
Yes.
I mean, what's...
So we have Barney with his own microphone here today. This is a special plush that not many people have seen.
My, it's the reporter plush.
It is.
Barney the reporter press.
Yes.
Oh, can I just
absolutely.
So, wow, Barney, you're the best. Isn't he? I mean, look, got the hat, but in true Barneyness.
Yes.
There's no cigarette sticking out of there.
Absolutely,
No. This was, and he probably doesn't go to the bars after work. No. This is a good Barney.
That's
so cute.
That's exactly.
Well, since we're doing Q&A, why don't we just leave him here?
Right?
Okay, I'm just going to sit him right here beside me because he can help me ask some questions. And I know that we have gathered up questions from our fans.
Yeah, the response was crazy. We put it out there, and so quickly everyone wanted to ask questions, sending private messages and all of this kind of stuff. So it's so much fun to finally be able to, because as you know, with the internet, you don't know what you can trust, and stuff is out there. Well, here's the real answers right here.
You can only Google so much, right?
Absolutely.
So just so that everyone will know that we got a lot of the same questions. So I mean, that's why we thought we're getting the ones that everyone really wants to know the answers to.
Well, as you can imagine, for 25 years, there's a couple questions that I've been asked everywhere I go.
Okay, well, so we'll see if you know the answers.
Sure.
Okay, so let's just go ahead and start. I mean, I kind of have a list of 19 questions.
Okay. All right.
So, simply, when and where was Barney created? What is the background of Barney?
Well, the background, pretty simply, is that Allen, Texas, is where he was created, and that would have been in the 1987, 88 year. 88 was the first video of Barney and the Backyard Gang, and that's it, really. I was going to go further with it, but...
Well, but from, I mean, I'm going to kind of stretch out.
It was Dick Leach.
Okay.
That owned the company. It was a publishing company, Lyric, Color Dynamics. Sorry.
Okay.
Color Dynamics.
Oh, we're putting him to work
Yeah,
tonight.
I'm already sweating a little bit. But it was Color Dynamics, and his daughter-in-law, Cheryl Leach, came up with the concept. Several of them were involved, and kind of through that is where it started off out there in Allen.
And then became a worldwide
Absolutely.
phenomenon. Okay.
Oh, it took a little bit longer. There was a few years after that.
Sure.
Yeah, because it was like 92 was when he hit PBS.
Okay. So when did you, Carey, hit Barney? When did you become Barney, and how did you prepare to be the purple dinosaur?
So it was 1991. It would have been August of 1991. I met Sloan Coleman, who we had a few episodes ago.
Right.
And she had a licensed birthday party. So she went to the creators and got a birthday party company where Barney would show up at your birthday party, and it was licensed. It was the only one licensed to do this. Barney and the Backyard Gang, their first video is the one that I actually studied. So I was given that video, the VHS tape, and I took it home because I'd never been in a costume before. And so that was kind of how I got to know the songs, because I was going to go into people's houses. We had a cassette tape to a boombox, and I would perform in people's houses or in their backyard.
So that was
numbers.
One of
91.
your fans. One of your fans, Jason, wanted to be specific. He wanted to know what video you studied.
It was that original one. It was the original one that Sloan gave me, and I'd never heard of it when she gave this to me.
So this isn't one of my 19 questions.
Okay.
What went through your head when you're like, I'm going to have to be this dinosaur?
I think I just was looking for a job. To be very honest, I was excited to be back in the creative world because I was a musician for many years. So I really don't know that I was thinking as much about the purple dinosaur as much as I got to get this thing. It was an audition, right? I wasn't the only one she was looking at. So I wanted to get as good. And so here I am studying this thing and trying to figure this out, not even thinking about having to be in a costume.
What is Dino Sync?
Well, that's something that David Joyner and Bob West started out talking about Dino Sync in the early days, which is the combination of the voice actor and the body actor. Because during the TV show, for example, there's a lot of different ways, but in the TV show, there's a script, okay? That one is being recorded is live. Okay, it's live. So if the voice actor decides to go somewhere else or add an oh boy or a super duper or a stupendous, all my Barney fans know what I'm talking about when I mention those, we can go with it. Or if I decide to skip, they might add something vocally to go with that movement. So we don't always know exactly where we're going to go, and so we get inside each other's heads. So I did obviously with Bob West, but I really did with Dean Went. I was on the TV show with Dean Went for 12 years, and we just became one because of that. The songs are recorded, but his mic is live. So once again, if he wants to add something, so if, let's say, for example, a child is cutting in front of Barney, he can go, oh, excuse me. I mean, he could just add it right there.
And you hear that.
And I hear it. It's in my ear, so I can just move the mouth to it.
Or you can get out of the way.
Or I can get out. Well, I can do both, right? Yeah, and I'm prepared for that at all times because I know he's got a live mic. So I have to be prepared, and so did David and the other actors.
Dino synchronization is what that really was.
Absolutely.
So that's why you're so good at taking direction, Carey.
Yes, and that's why we're all very detail-oriented, because you really had to be.
Okay. A lot of questions about your suit, the Barney suit.
Yes.
So this is going to be one clump of questions. And basically, it's how heavy, how hot,
Yes.
was it custom made?
Yes.
Who washed it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's so funny. I did that event up in Connecticut with Christine Baranski recently. Mm-hmm. First thing she asked me, I got questions for you, Barney. Because she saw me as Barney, she didn't see Carey, and she said, I got questions for you. How hot is it? That's something I've been asked by, you name it, all these years. It's very hot. There is no ventilation. There is no air conditioning. It is it doesn't breathe. So all of the performers that were in these costumes were highly athletes. I was a cross-country runner for that reason.
But was it episode 1 with Jeff as Baby Bop, or episode 7 perhaps, when we had BJ Kyle?
Yeah.
Did they talk about a fan in there?
Okay, we do have fans. It's kind of like the placebo effect. You know what I'm?
Yeah.
If you don't know what that means, it just kind of makes you feel better. It's not really doing anything. Yeah, there's a little bit of cold, but it cannot even close to compete with the amount of heat that is generated. There's no way for it to escape. Plus, all of us are wearing masks. So, and that's why. But here's something I've never said before. People notice that I'm red a lot of times. It's because of all that heat over the years with my skin.
You flush easily.
I flush easily. Sometimes
Not
I'm
so much
embarrassed,
blush, but flush.
Yeah, but sometimes it's
The
just
purple
because
flush. I
It's
like
because of
that.
20-something years of having a mask over in that intense heat.
Was the suit made specifically for you? And like David had his own suit, and everybody had their own suit.
So on some things it was, and some things it wasn't. On the TV show, it absolutely was. The last one that I used for 12 years was 100%. It fit me and any requests I had. So if there was something, and for example, I jump a lot. If anyone's ever watched my episodes, I jump a lot, bell kick a lot, I bounce a lot. I had things put in there so that it was body fit. It fit me so that it didn't bounce on me, that it didn't build up on my shoulders. You're having to protect your body. My feet, my ankles, my shoulders take a lot of abuse. And so to protect that, I could go to them. There was a costume shop at the studio. So I could go into them and say, could we work on this, or I'm having this issue. They were incredible. Shauna Mass and Margaret and all of those people that took incredible care of us because they saw what we were going through. And I mean, making sure we were hydrated, all of those things. There was a crew that did that for all of us.
How did you go to the bathroom?
Well, I would obviously have to get out of it. So
Was there a zipper?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
Barney's a one-piece costume.
Okay.
But we had breaks, so usually took care of that kind of stuff. And there wasn't much liquid in my body because I was sweating so much.
Wow. And you did lose quite a bit of weight, didn't you?
Yes.
You could actually do you could do a weight loss video as Barney.
Well, I told this story on another podcast. I've never told it on this one. I don't know why I haven't, but back in 90, goodness, it wouldn't have been, it would close to 2000. I ran a marathon in Houston, Texas with a bunch of my high school friends. And my tour manager at the time was going to run also. He was getting ready to turn 40, and he said, I've got to run a marathon before I turn 40. Will you do it with me? And I said, yes. And we took the Barney tour to the UK. And he said, well, we're going to train every day. I did not train one day. I just did the show every day. And at the end, he said, his name's Glenn Grabsky, and you'll hate that I'm telling this story. He said, you're not going to be able to do this. You have not run one day. I said, I'll be good. He goes, there's no way. I said, I'll be good. We had a little side wager on this. And he said, I know you so dang well because you're stubborn as all get out. So you have to do it under 4 hours. For people that know marathons, breaking 3 hours is incredible. Breaking 4 hours is incredible. And I said, done. He goes, I knew I was in deep trouble when you just shook my hand. So we got back from the UK. We had a month beforehand. I said, I better run this dang thing just to see if I can do this. Now I got a little side action going here. And I actually fell. I had an accident running, and I never got to actually run for this marathon other than doing Barney every day, sometimes two shows a day. There were 7 of us that did this in Houston. And the way a marathon works, they have a marker that tells you, we're going to run it 3 hours. We're going to run it 3.5 hours. So I knew if I just found someone at 4, ran with them, and right beforehand beat them, I won my bet. We all took off. I felt so dang good. I actually finished in first of the whole group of friends, and I ran 3 hours and 27 minutes, only training through that big purple dinosaur.
And the lesson to be learned is never make a bet with you.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Okay.
But that's how fit I was from doing that tour.
Well, you mentioned the tour, so let's talk about the stage productions. A lot of questions about that. And
Absolutely.
I know episode 14 with Sloan and Jake, a lot of those questions were answered as far as the tours are concerned.
Yes.
But some of the specifics, how many years were you on those stage productions? How many buses? I mean, let's kind of numbers here.
Sure. I did 5 years. Personally, I did 5 years, which was 2 tours, Barney's Big Surprise and Barney's Musical Castle. I did 1,100 performances. No, that's official. That's an official number. 1,100 performances. We had 3 tour buses. We had, I think it was 5 trucks on that, 50 in the cast and crew. So you had cast, you had kids, and then you had the crew that went. And we were doing 7 shows a week. I know we talked about this with Pia last week. She's doing 8. We were doing 7. So we had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. As Jake mentioned, it got so popular at some point, they actually tried to do 3 on Saturday, and we did that a couple times, but it just blasted the cast and crew. So we stopped doing that. We did do some split weeks. So if you would do smaller cities, so we would do Tuesday, Wednesday, and then travel on Thursday to the next city, and then do Friday, 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday.
It's like any touring company.
Yes.
But it's amazing because you had so many intricate little details, the costumes and the children and their parents and everything, right?
Yes.
On those shows all over the world.
Yes. Absolutely. And I know I've gotten asked before about the kids touring with us. We took an understudy the first year, and it became a little bit of an issue because the kids didn't want to sit back. You know, as an adult, you understand that role of an understudy, but the kids always wanted to be on stage. They wanted to perform, and they just felt it was better to just go with the 4. And then if one got sick, then we went with 3.
So,
and it did happen a couple times.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. Abigail asked that, so I'm going to cross that out. You took one of her questions, so we're down to a few more now. But and you know what? While we're talking about that, was there an age range or limit for the Barney kids? Because I know we've had some of the kids that we've had on have talked about, I got too tall, I was too old.
Sure, and that's really how they judged. It wasn't age as much as height. Yeah. Now I will tell you, with the tour, they let them go older.
Okay.
Because taking them on the tour away from your parents, they were allowed 1 parent on the road with them. So that was obviously very emotional and tough. It was cool to be on the stage, but they missed their parents. So the kids on the tour were older than the ones on the TV show.
Well, and yes, and I remember, who came in with her mother? Courtney. And Courtney, her mom was there, and Courtney's mom talked about in episode 3, yes, I left my husband and her little brother, and we went on tour with Barney. So, I mean, it was a commitment.
It was. That was an interesting one. She said, she made a comment about she missed the flying. I don't know if you remember her talking about that. I think the moms were the only ones that missed the flying. The rest of us really enjoyed those buses because it was we had to be at the venue a lot. We had to. That was a place for us to escape. We all had our own bunks, which was for kids tour incredible. So we could escape, if I just needed to be away from everyone for a moment, or if I just needed to sleep, or I'll tell a very funny story that I used to do. We would do on Tuesdays in each city, we would do the press. I'm looking at Barney with his press. We would do Good Morning Des Moines, Good Morning Philly. And it would be, as you know, these are at like 5 a.m. So I would we all had keys to the bus. So I was notorious for leaving a note to the bus driver on his seat that would say, "I'm in my bunk, wake me up when we get there." And everyone would be going, "Where's Carey?" And the bus driver goes, "Oh, he's been sleeping in there for hours." I might go in at midnight and just, instead of having to wake myself up, I would just go sleep in my bunk.
Ah, that is behind the scenes.
Yeah, that's behind the scenes. Not many people know that story.
Okay, so you did get some sleep when you were out on the road. Let's talk now about favorites, because everyone has what was your favorite, this or that? And this may be, these may just be quick little off the top of your head. What's your favorite Barney song to perform?
I have 2. I know the cancer's 1, but I got to answer 2. Mr. Knickerbocker, because it's just so much fun, and every child knew it. So doing the movements of "Hey, Mr. Knickerbocker," and seeing them do it was incredible. There's nothing like doing the "I Love You" song to a live audience and seeing a child hug himself and blow kisses to Barney or kiss a parent. There's nothing like that. The coolest thing about doing these live performances is you know what's coming next. So I would know, oh my God, this is about to be amazing, because they're about to, and they would hear the beginning of, our notes that open the show, and you would see it. I mean, you could feel the love in the arena immediately. And when you're hugging yourself, I mean, my body would be trembling, because you could feel and see so much love. So
And it's live.
It's
right
live,
there.
and it's there, and they're blowing kisses. You said, Barney, I love you, and they really do, and that's amazing, incredible.
So it's not the cleanup song? And
No.
why is that so popular?
Because how can you not sing it? It's so catchy. How can you not sing clean up, clean up?
See, there you go. I know, that's a good one. Okay, then how about your favorite Barney plush? And you know what? I know that it's this one, but
Yes.
so we've got the reporter plush. No, but
Yes.
do you have a favorite that you can remember?
Well, it would obviously be the one that was never out there, which was the one, the official one that was with the TV show, the real plush that
okay.
Barney would appear from. That was pretty.
Oh.
That was handcrafted. That was a very special. They would have to bring it to the set, and someone would have to bring it back. I mean, it didn't go anywhere. It was very, very special.
And again, this is in our little favorite category.
Sure.
What do you have in your collection that is really your favorite, but no one knows you have, that you took it maybe, and no one knows?
Well, I think surprised people in Bob LaValle's episode. I had the trains.
That's right.
Those mean the world to me. They're in my house.
That was episode 12 when we talked about that.
They were in my house, and those are the trains from the set that were there. I looked at for 12 years. Those are pretty special.
Okay.
And
Okay.
there could be some other things.
Okay. Well, we have plenty of time to get to that too. Okay,
Yes.
but did you have a favorite tour, like one city that really was the most fun for you?
It's got to be Radio City Music Hall. How can you not know how special that play? You know who's been on that stage, and I'll tell you right now, it's the hardest stage to perform on, because we had a traveling stage that goes with us, and as much as Barney jumps, and this is just hard to explain, but when you have 50 pounds on your shoulder and you're taking that in the air and you're hitting it and you're doing some of these movements, ba-bam, 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 it puts so much on your knees, your ankles, and your feet. And I've had to have...
You're pretty much a bionic man,
yeah,
aren't
I've
you?
had to have some work on all of that. At Radio City, there's no give. It's a hard stage. When we're on the road, we take our own stage, and so it has give and it has bounce to it. So it takes some of the impact. That takes none. I'm taking the impact. So you're going, this is the coolest place in the world, and this is going to hurt.
That's crazy, which leads me to the next question.
Yes.
What's your craziest Barney moment?
But once again, it's Radio City. I was in 1994. I was the guy. I know one of the kids keeps showing Barney with the mop and broom.
Yeah.
That was me. But I was also doing a lot of their PR for that event. And they said, Carey, we need to get on the costume. We want to do a picture. I said, perfect. They took me up and put me on, and I'll have to get the picture, on the marquee of Radio City Music Hall. I'm talking about on top.
That we've all know what that looks
you've
like,
all
even if you
seen
haven't
it.
been there.
I stood on top of it with the photographer across the street, and I am scared of heights. I will make this a PTP
That's
first as
another
well.
thing. Oh my goodness.
And they had a radio between the photographer and our stage manager. And he kept saying, Carey, he wants you to get closer out on the edge. And I said, well, this might be my job here, but I ain't doing it. I'm looking down at the street going, this is nuts. It's a very cool shot. I'll have to get it here in the next couple weeks. But yeah, they had me stand over the street.
Well, that's the craziest moment. So perhaps that would also be the hardest one to do, perhaps?
No, and I have a clip from this was one of the Barney videos.
Okay.
We got a clip.
Okay.
And it's this one right here.
Alrighty.
Of me dancing.
So if you are listening,
And look where I'm dancing.
Barney's in some sand.
Yeah, I'm on the beach. I cannot tell you how difficult it is. If you think it's hard to walk in sand, try dancing in a big purple
And you
costume.
turn around and
Yes.
it is tough, huh?
It is tough. And if you know anything about this business, there's no one take. I probably did that 10 times in the sand. That was in Florida at SeaWorld. It's probably 95 degrees out there. So it looks fun, but it was a lot of work.
You would never know. Okay,
Well, we've talked about this before. You're never sad. You're never tired. You understand how much the kids love Barney, and so that's gone. You prepare yourself. You, in your mind, go, I know this is going to be difficult. I've already done, we do rehearsal out of costume. So I've already danced in the sand. I already know what's coming. And so you kind of prep yourself. You have a schedule for the day. And a lot of times you can say to them, is there any way we could do that in the morning?
And did they allow you
if
to?
They could,
okay.
with the locations.
Right.
They were wonderful about that. But sometimes they'd be like, well, we only get this place for half a day and it just has to be here.
Okay. Well, you sucked it up. Okay. So, I know when we had Brian Mack, one of the directors, he
Yes.
was on episode 10, and he was a lot of fun talking about dealing with children, especially,
Yes.
and you, and making sure that everything worked right on the set, and kind of
Absolutely.
being the boss.
Yes.
But this was Tim Mayer Carey asked this question, and it's
Yeah.
very specific.
Okay.
Okay. How hard was it to shoot the scenes where Barney said goodbye to the kids and then turned back into a Barney doll? He said he's always been amazed at how you were able to run out of the shot so quick. How did you do that?
Sometimes it was really easy. Sometimes it was really hard, depending on how quick they went back. So there are sometimes there were some quick sprints to get out of the camera angle.
So not just a cutaway, not just,
No.
okay, let's cut, let's go, now run off.
Yeah,
I mean, it was
because
all
sometimes
in one
it was a
take.
one take. Yeah.
Okay.
So sometimes I'd have to sprint out real quick.
Oh, secrets from the Barney
Sometimes
set.
I could just walk out because they had it set that a child was going to walk up and hit. So there was a pause by the time the camera went back.
Oh, okay. So
You
you
know,
knew
whatever.
that.
Yes.
Okay. Well, but who knew? I mean, it looks so
good. The harder
good.
one was the opening, where Barney appeared from the doll and the sparkles.
Ah.
So at the beginning of the show, you'd hear whoa, whoa, and the sparkles, and do that. So you'd have to get in a complete squat.
In the costume.
Yeah. I don't.
He wants to do it. I mean, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
You got to get in a complete.
So
squat.
what we are seeing right now is Carey Stinson,
And
who
then you
played
just-
Barney in a
you
complete
just-
squat,
You fire. So here.
and he
you
fires from his thighs.
Yeah. So you yes.
Well, you were on the.
But
I mean, you were
I was.
squatting.
But yet you fire up in the air. So and then they move the camera from it too. So they're tight in, and then boom, and so sometimes that might take 3 or 4 times. And if a cameraman misses, you hear, "Sorry, Carey." No. Hey, it happens. We're a team. We're a family
Yeah.
on that stuff. But
Okay.
yeah, some of those were exciting because they go, "Wouldn't it be fun if Barney appeared from, this from the bridge or from the?" And you're like, "You want me to? I'm going to do this from an angle now. Not only am I going up in the air, but I have to land to sit a certain way." So there was some interesting things
You were
that
very
happened there
talented.
too.
I mean, yeah. Okay, so who owns Barney, the franchise now?
It's Mattel.
It is.
It is Mattel.
I've never. Barbie doesn't have any Barney dolls, I don't think, does she?
Yeah, it's Mattel.
I'll be darned. So, can we still buy these plushies?
You can. Fisher Price
So Fisher Price has the toys.
has the toys, and then he's on Universal Kids, and those are the episodes I did.
Okay.
And I think Amazon as well, and YouTube. You can find a lot of them on YouTube.
Oh, on
also.
YouTube, and I guess eBay. I mean,
Yeah.
if you want to buy.
Oh, sure.
But I mean, so many of our fans have written and said, "Oh, I'm so mad. My mother gave it away, or we sold it, or it went in the garage sale." So those are the things that we probably end up seeing
Sure.
on eBay.
Absolutely.
So then where's the Barney mobile? Were you a part of the Barney? Did Barney have a car?
He had several.
Oh.
There was one on the tour that we talked about with Jake and Sloan.
Okay.
So we had one.
Okay.
Remember Barry talked about it. How he
Oh,
slipped
that's
that
right.
check
That's
to the.
right. That's right. Barry Pearl.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was one. So we had one there, and then a couple of videos. We had buses and all kinds of things.
Oh my goodness. So all the costumes and the sets, it seems that everyone has a little bit of something from the tour when they were on the TV show. But is there one big, does Mattel, you think, have a storage unit?
No, they do.
They do?
Absolutely. These are, some of these things are in the Smithsonian. You have to, it's how iconic these Barney costumes and some of these things that they have. Yeah.
I love hearing that. Okay, so, someone wants to know, they're going to go to Florida this summer. They're going to go to
Yes.
Universal Studios. Is Barney still there?
He is.
Is he?
Started in 1995.
Have you ever seen him in Florida?
Well, I was
haven't.
the one that, I was the one that did the ribbon cutting. So I was actually there with Cheryl Leach and did the ribbon cutting for that event.
In the suit.
In the suit. I did that. I got to play on that set. So Barney comes up from an elevator in that show. So I got to go in the elevator and do the whole thing, which was cool.
Oh, nice.
He did some performances down there. So I did a lot of work down there with Universal. And yes, so it's almost 25 years that show has been running.
Wow. Did you know that the site of Barney at Universal Orlando is the site of the Bates Motel set from Psycho 4
I do.
Beginnings?
The house was up there at that time.
Wow.
At that time, it was very cool. The other thing that's really cool, you know, who's going to see that show these days are all those millennials that were watching. They were talking about down at Universal. They get a lot of millennials that come.
Oh, nice.
Come see the show.
Now they're kids. They can bring. I mean, all
know.
those 20-somethings and 30-somethings can bring their kids. Okay. Let's see. This is one from Barney and Friends season 1, and this was the episode "The Queen of Make Believe."
Okay.
Do you remember that? And I guess a lot of this has to do with the magic of television or video.
Yeah.
How did Michael get into the robot suit with Barney and the other kids noticing him or not noticing him? I guess Heather wants a really specific answer.
Well, I'm presuming it was Barney magic how they did all that. But once again, we had crew. There was so many people behind the scenes. As I said, all the costume people. They had an amazing Lisa Albertson and an amazing wardrobe department that built these costumes for different episodes and helped the kids in them and helped us. And we had so many wonderful people that were helping us.
And I guess it was in episode 6 with Shelley Aubrey talking
Yes.
about the dance and so on. All those, everything that was around, she had to make sure that the costumes worked with the dances and that
Sure.
everybody could do everything. That in
Sure.
itself was a big job.
Yeah. And then sometimes, we just had to figure it out and get used to it. I mean, we did I'll have to find some clips that
Okay. Yeah.
we did a Halloween episode where I was doing a little bit of Michael Jackson's Thriller. That was fun.
Okay. Here's a question from Nancy J. Okay. Is there a connection between Barney the dinosaur, Carrie Stinson, and How I Met Your Mother's Barney Stinson, played by Neil Patrick Harris? I mean, how did that happen? There's a Barney Stinson.
It's kind of funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't give you that official unless you may have.
Well, I don't know. But
I think it's pretty obvious that I was doing the TV show when that show came out, and one of our crew told me about it. I actually didn't know, and he said,
there was a
"Have you
Carrie
seen
Stinson?
there's a Barney Stinson?" Yeah,
Barney Stinson. And also, sometime in the show, and that was from 2005 when
Sure.
it started, and sometimes his character would almost sound like Barney because he'd say things like, he'd go, wait for it, like, it's legend, wait for it, dare it. I mean, so
Right.
it was almost a Barney-like
Yeah.
thing, but actually the character, there is a Barney Stinson also in the James Elroy novel, L.A. Confidential.
Oh wow.
So but he was not a good guy. That Carrie Stinson or Barney, I'm sorry, that Barney Stinson wasn't a good
Barney
guy.
had a lot of pop called Friends. There was a reference on one of the Jurassic Park movies. They actually showed a clip of one of the Barneys.
See,
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about the dinosaur,
Yeah,
isn't it?
it is.
Okay, well, that's good. So how about this? Clarissa wants to know, did Barney ever make you cry at the end of every show? I mean, were there things that, like, at the end of a show, you just kind of got emotional?
Oh, sure. Yeah, with the kid, the reaction with the kids, to see someone do something on their when you're doing "I Love You," I can't even really get across to you the reactions that it's just amazing. It's incredible.
This is totally off
Sure.
book. Have you been able to say "I love you" to the people that you really love in real life because the love has been so pervasive with Barney?
The funny thing is I had it before Barney, and that was because of my father. Without getting too much, he didn't come from the best of his father had left him, without getting too deep. And so he preached love in my household. Every meal, every time, every one of my brothers, sisters, mom, we always told each other we loved each other. Always. All the time. Always. And so it really was already natural to me. It was not awkward at all to tell people I loved them because I've been doing it my whole life. My whole life I've been doing that.
You were typecast.
So it fit really
Great.
perfect.
That's great. Okay, so have you ever, or did you ever think, or like while you were doing it, how popular Barney really was? Did that hit home to you at some point?
Maybe a little bit. I think really with we've talked about the JCPenney tours. I think that was the one that really hit me. When you have 40,000 people, and you all can go look this up, they have pictures, and numbers of 40,000 people. 40,000 people, at best, you're getting to see him for 2 minutes. If you're on one side of the mall and you can see him going around the mall, you're lucky to get 2 seconds of a hug or a high five. I mean, I'm literally high-fiving or hugging. I've got 40,000 people and only so many, we've got to go somewhere else. And I never saw complaints. I mean, to think about that, how long people would wait for this dinosaur. And once again, you were lucky to get a hug, or you might just get to see him wiggle his tail. I thought that was pretty unbelievable. Pretty unbelievable.
There have been a couple of comments from our fans saying, why in the world would anyone hate Barney?
We always said it was because we never went to educate or entertain parents. This show was plain and simple for the kids. Sesame Street goes to an older, they kind of want to entertain the parent. We didn't, that was never our goal. So I think sometimes it was maybe a little cheesy for them, or it was meant for young kids. But I think we've seen this with Purple Tails, that when people understand what the message really was about, how in the world can you have a problem with, unconditional love?
Will there be a reunion? Will there be another Barney show? Will it be back on television? Will there be backstage? I mean, that everyone wants to know. Is there going to be a resurgence of Barneydom?
It'll be interesting. We've, Purple Tails has created a little bit, which we're thrilled about. I love how much people just love Barney. The event I did a couple months ago, everyone wanted a picture. Everyone was excited. So I would absolutely love it. I think it's so important. I think it would be very popular as long as it stuck to that same message. You don't need to make him hip. You don't need to do anything other but leave him the way he is.
See, that's very, very interesting that you say that, because I think that might be, someone might think, gosh, we need to get Barney a cell phone.
Won't work. It won't work. You have to keep him where he is. That unconditional love.
Well, see, a lot of people have asked, would you ever put the suit back on? And you did.
Yeah, I did. And it made me, it was incredible. It made me feel so good.
And it still fit because it was your suit.
It did still fit. So
I mean, gosh.
I was pretty happy I've kept myself in
Barney shape.
Barney shape.
Well, obviously you have. Well, okay. This is, I don't know. Please don't count all these questions, because I think we're off the grid now.
We could be.
We could be. I don't know. But I guess this is my last question for you.
Okay.
I mean, I want to say this is probably the 20th. This is a good 20 question.
All right.
Thing. It's a two-parter.
Okay.
How much did Barney change? Barney in your 22 years?
He changed. I don't want to say a lot. He definitely changed a bunch. Well, like you heard in the Jackie Smith about Barney doing the Rapper's Delight song.
That's right.
He would have never done that in the early days.
His
Never.
Barney's publicist, right?
Yeah, he
right?
would have never have done that. So he did go a little bit more with pop culture. As we went a little bit, Barney did have a laptop in one of the episodes I was in. So they did go a little bit with that and went with the times a little bit. We were able to. I was hidden in the early days, paparazzi and all of that kind of stuff, and that changed a little bit as we went older. Originally, there were David Joyner and myself were the only two doing it, and they wouldn't let anyone else do it. And then all of a sudden, you got tours and stuff, and you have to. So it went from just two actors doing it to we actually had to bring in some more, because there's just physically not possible. So it did change in some ways.
So this is a question then for Barney.
Okay. Uh-oh.
I'll go ahead and hold the bar. I mean, because this is a question that Barney needs to answer. Barney?
Yeah.
How much did Carey change in 22 years?
Wow. He changed in ways of... I've always been a very positive person, but I really think that I saw that you could really do anything. Seeing these children... I saw some stuff that you wouldn't even think was possible. I've told the story of the child that spoke, who didn't speak for 2 years. Burn units, I've seen that. I've seen kids get out of wheelchairs. I have seen things you just didn't think was absolutely possible happen. And so I've realized there's just nothing you can't do if you really I've seen it. And it really opened up my eyes.
Well, I think today's episode is probably going to create more questions.
And I had one I wanted to throw in here.
Okay.
That someone had asked me about my favorite episode.
Okay.
And
sure.
Here I'm going to give one last that no one knows. And it was the episode we had a lost kitty. And I forget the name of it.
Okay. Lost kitty.
Lost kitty. We find the kitty by the end of the episode.
Okay.
But here's your real behind the scenes. In that episode was my mother and my father.
Oh.
They were both extras in that episode. They knew the story of my mom teaching dance, so they actually had her teaching dance to kids. As the camera opened up, there's my mom, and then my dad is on the bench, and they're leaving, and they hand a flyer to him for the lost kitty, and those are my parents. So that was one of my absolute favorite things, to have my parents on an
And
episode.
what was that one called?
It was something.
We stumped him.
Kitty, something of that nature. But you can find it. It's the Lost Kitty.
The Lost Kitty. I'm going to look at it really quick.
Yeah.
Lost Kitty episode for Barney.
Barney and Friends, and that's my mom
you know
and
what?
dad.
But you know what's happening is right now people are listening to this. They're like going, "Oh, it's blah 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 blah." Let's see.
Yeah,
Barney and Friends. Here, kitty.
There you go. Yeah. So my mom,
Season 8,
my mom and dad.
episode 4.
Yeah.
And we'll look for it. And I'll tell you what. I think that we should stop with here, kitty.
I agree.
I love that story.
And we should do this some more.
I know we're going to do it next week. We're going to keep doing it every week.
Absolutely.
Until we run out of things to say. And as you can see, we're always going to have questions, and you've got great guests coming up ahead, and we've had great shows. So be sure to, what do we tell everybody they need to do?
Like, share, and subscribe.
There you go. Like, share, and subscribe.
Yes.
Say please and thank you, and I love you. There you go. See?
And don't forget to clean up.
Oh, that's don't forget to clean up. Okay.
We're going to teach you that song.
I'm going to learn it eventually. Okay. Can I take this home with me? No? No? Are you kidding?